Type inside of Illustrator is vector-based, but if you've noticed, you don't have the ability to access individual anchor points for characters within your type. You can do that, however, if you convert your type into outlines. Now, there are disadvantages to converting your type to outlines. For example, if I want to come over and choose the Type tool, with the Type tool, I could come in and completely change this text. I could add characters, remove characters. I could do whatever I want. I could change the font, the size. You name it, I can change it. But if you want to control individual anchor points of a character, you don't have that ability. So one thing that you can do is come up to the Type menu and choose Create Outlines. By creating an outline, you also make the document font independent, meaning if you want to send this to print, the printer wouldn't need this font installed if you converted it to outlines, because essentially they're shapes at that point. They're not actually characters from a font. Now, you don't want to do this for large amounts of copy. Because those vector points will add a tremendous amount of file size, you make the document almost unusable in terms of making it printable. It'll take a very long time to print because the file size is so large, and ultimately converting your text to outlines would be counterproductive. But if you have a tagline or a special company font for a logo, at that point it makes perfect sense to convert it to an outline, especially if you don't want a corporate font to be floating around to a different designer, to a print shop, whatever the case may be. But in this case, what I'd like to do is show you how you can create outlines from Type. I have this text object selected. With it selected, again, you can come up to the Type menu, and from there you can choose Create Outlines. Now when you do that, you'll notice you see all the vector points for the individual letters. However, if you come over and choose the Type tool, if you try to change a character here, you can't. You lose that editability. But you gain a lot of control. If you come over and choose the Direct Selection tool, you can click on the individual anchor points now. This gives you the ability to completely change the look of a font. For example, if I click this anchor point and hold down the Shift key and select this anchor point, using the down arrow key on the keyboard, I can pull this letter N down a bit. When you click away from it, you can see that it's updated. The same is true here for this I. I could click here and pull this up a bit. So now you have a lot more control over what this type will look like because you have access to those individual anchor points. So choosing the Create Outlines command for your type can be incredibly useful. You just have to be aware of the pros and the cons.